for Chuck Daly.
He was asked recently, as a college coach, how do you manage these NBA players? And he says, we keep it equal. When I find out something, I impart it on them immediately. And a look at the uniforms that these teams will be wearing. Russia will be in red. The United States will be in white. There is Carmelo Anthony. He's averaging 16 points in 19 minutes in these 3 exhibition games. And Andrei Kirilenko, he was the youngest European drafted when he was drafted by the Utah Jazz years ago.
Been a very savvy move. He's had a particularly solid career. Has had some bumps in the road with Jerry Sloan, but overall, very effective player in the league.
Not as many bumps in the road as Greg Ostertag.
That's true.
But Andrei Kirilenko is a stud for the Jazz, and he is the face of the Russian national team, and the tip is won by the United States, and they will attack first. Glad to have you with us on ESPN. First of 2 from Shanghai, and then it is off to Beijing, and they start to count.
Let's take a look and see how Team USA executes in the half court.
Kobe Bryant is fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. That foul on Bykov, and Bykov says, wait a minute, I've got to guard Kobe Bryant. You got to be kidding me. He's 6'3", 195, 25 years old. Really no resume at all. And he's playing against Kobe Bryant, the reigning MVP, 2-time scoring champion, 3-time ring winner in the NBA.
Interestingly, only the 6th leading scorer so far on this Team USA through 3 exhibition games. He's become the defensive stopper.
He is leading the team with steals at 2.7. Kobe shooting just 13 of 24 from the field. You saw the percentage, and the percentage from these other guys is insane. 66% the U.S. is shooting in these 3 exhibitions.
Now here's the interesting thing. Kobe Bryant again picks up Russia's best perimeter player, J.R. Holden.
And they try to go backdoor to Holden. That pass by Morgunov was a little bit too far in front of Holden, and Russia gives it away. And the Americans are forcing 22 turnovers a game through the first 3.
Pressure defense has been Team USA staple so far. I'm going to be interested to see how well they run half-court offense.
They went to Dwight Howard early and often against Lithuania. They do so here. It's knocked out of bounds off of Russia. 9 on the shot clock for the U.S.
And one of the things, Rick, people are looking for just to see if there's going to be a chink in the armor in terms of half-court offense. But the offense has been kept very simple. It's pretty much let them space and play.
LeBron James off. The rebound comes to J.R. Holden. Plays his ball with CSKA Moscow. He's been with them for a while. He's won a couple of EuroLeague championships with mighty CSKA.
Well, he has become one of the best point guards in Europe.
Kirilenko guarded well by Howard, threw it up over his ear, nothing doing there. Russia's still stuck on Bagel, and a foul on Kidd in the open court.
Well, we mentioned that foul that international players like to give in the open court. You got to make sure now, because of the rule change, that you play the ball and not just grab the man, or we've seen they'll call the intentional foul. You see the reach in right there, and an attempt to play the ball and get the steal, and it slows down Team USA.
Real smart foul by Morgunov. Kobe Bryant from L.A. with that one. Missed it, tracked it down. Kobe Bryant trying to make plays, feeds Melo. Carmelo off, and the U.S. is off early on. Slithers out of Dwight Howard's hands, and a foul is called on the men in white.
Well, if you're Coach David Blatt, Russia's coach now, you want to be very sound in your half-court offense and try to slow the pace of this game. Having watched Russia in the past last year at the Eurobasket, they will spread the floor, but not give it away like that.
And the king rises and shines in Shanghai. LeBron James has been noisy since returning from that ankle injury. Kept him out of the Canada game, but he has been superb, leading this team in scoring at 17.5 PPG.
That's what you don't want to do if you're David Blatt's club. You want to run offense and take advantage of a slower game if it's possible.
Dwight Howard had 3 steals against Lithuania. Almost came up with one there. Speaking of steals, one of the top rippers in the NBA over the past few years. And way back in 03-04, Kirilenko was top 5 in steals and blocks. The only other guy in the history of the NBA to do that, David Robinson. J.R. Holden, way off with that. Kidd to LeBron to 3-on-2. LeBron with the fake. Off glass, and it goes. The king in full effect early on.
LeBron was looking for somebody to pass to. The lanes closed down. He was able to get to the rim, draw the contact. Take a look at this right here. I had a chance to spend some time with LeBron at his camp about 3 weeks ago. And I've mentioned this a couple times. He is 260 pounds and 5% body fat. And right now, there's no question he can guard all 5 positions on the floor in Olympic play.
He's a super freak is what he is. LeBron James, 5 years in the NBA. His resume is already superb. 4 All-Stars, 2-time All-Star MVP in 5 years in the NBA. That's unbelievable. Morgunov drives on Howard, goes glass. He was short with that, and a foul. It's going to go against the U.S. And we'll take a look at the leading scorers for Team USA. LeBron, Wade, Melo, Red, Howard. Kobe not on that list.
Well, Kobe has taken a back seat, and he's made himself a defensive stopper. He's also done a really good job of passing the ball. What is it, over 4 assists a game? But this is a team, really, that can have anybody on a given night lead them in scoring. I think it speaks to the great unselfishness of this group.
J.R. Holden moving and grooving, scooping it up and in.
He's going to tell his grandkids about that one. Young man who played at Bucknell, and really is a great story because he worked his way up the European professional ladder, starting in places like Latvia.
Dwight Howard against Morgunov. Off glass, an athletic post move by Dwight Howard.
Get a chance to see what Dwight Howard could do in space, and because of the great perimeter play, he has room to operate. See, Russia will try to be deliberate.
Here's Carew. Nice step through when he scores, and he deked out Dwight Howard.
Victor Carew, a young man I had a chance to work with at the Reebok Euro Camp a couple of years ago. Was on NBA radars for a while. Very good athlete. Has to work on that jump shot.
JR guarding Kobe and tagging Kobe on the elbow. A couple more free throws for Kobe Bryant, a.k.a. the Doberman.
They've named him that, and I think he named himself that after doing a terrific job on Šarūnas Jasikevičius, holding him to 3 field goals in the win over Lithuania.
And they're chanting MVP here in Shanghai. Yes, they get it. So does Kobe Bryant. He said before this run, this pre-Olympic tour, that a gold medal would mean more to him than the 3 rings that he has.
Well, a lot of these players have voiced that opinion, and while some have, been skeptical of those comments, I think what it points out is that these guys are committed to not just winning the gold medal, but trying to win it in a way that's going to represent the United States in a classy way.
Well, they did just that in 06, 07, and here in 08. And LeBron with the strip to Kidd. Back to LeBron. 1-on-2. Hanging. And it was off the side of the backboard. USA leads 9-4. Russia back with it. Morgunov for 3. Line drives it home, and Russia within 2.
Well, this is a young man that at one point was property of the Portland Trail Blazers. 33 years old. A lot of international experience.
Kobe almost had it taken away by Holden. Kidd a no-look to Melo, and it's picked off. Here's Holden back for Russia. Nice spin move on Kidd. Boy, that's a tough matchup for both players in a way, and Holden just passed it right off of Dwight Howard. Bounds out of bounds. It'll stay Russia ball. 11 on the shot clock. And we're waiting for the signal for the timeout. It's under 5. Go to break. USA up 9-7 here. Somewhat sloppy on the offensive end so far, right?
And it's a good pace for Russia right now. David Blatt is not unhappy with this at all. Interesting, David Blatt coaching the Russian national team as an American Jew who has Israeli citizenship as well, and he played for Pete Carrill at Princeton.
Andrei Kirilenko ties the game at 9.
See, they've done a really good job now of making Team USA play in the half court. If you take care of the basketball, You're not going to give Team USA open court opportunities.
Grant, Dwyane Wade is now 5 of 6 from three-point range in these 3+ exhibition games. He's been the best three-point shooter on the team to this point.
And he's shooting about 75% overall from the field.
Dwyane Wade has been positively amazing. And a timeout on the floor. We got a good one here. 12-9 U.S. as we step away. Back at the Chichong Arena in Shanghai, China. How about this? The team is actually out-shooting the U.S. of A. Russia 4 of 7. The United States 4 of 9 here early on. And the red, white, and blue inefficient on the offensive end. And a little bit of time here to talk about the Russian coach, David Blatt. College at Princeton. Really an Israeli legend, both as a player and a coach.
Absolutely. And he's gone on really to be one of the great coaches in Europe. In fact, when you talk about the European coach that might be able to coach in the NBA, David Blatt and Ettore Messina, the coach at CSKA Moscow, those two names come to mind. Two terrific guys that I've gotten to know well through the international circuit. And David, an interesting story early in this game, because one of the things they're doing is they're really not sending anybody to the offensive glass. This is an old Pete Carrill Princeton trick. Shot goes up, don't crash the offensive glass, try to get 5 people back waiting in the paint, and that should slow down Team USA a little bit.
Very conservative approach to the game of basketball.
Yes, but the key right now is you've got to limit the open court opportunities that Team USA thrives on, Rick.
And here they are in the open court. Russia back on D. Wade splits, goes by Morgunov and scores. Dwyane Wade has been a positive revelation in these 3+ games. This is
the difficulty for Team USA's opponents. Even when you get 5 guys back, you have the great individual play of guys like Wade and LeBron and Kobe.
Morgunov over Bosch, in and out. And it comes to Wade.
That's good defensive transition right there.
Here's Bosch, and he is fouled. Looked like Morgunov from behind. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and the rest of the squad representing the red, white, and blue have their final pre-Olympic tune-up game Tuesday morning against Andrew Bogut and Australia. USA basketball pre-Olympic game on ESPN2. It's Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern.
And if you follow college basketball in the United States, Patrick Mills, one of the top young players in Australia, who had a terrific freshman year at St. Mary's for Randy Bennett. We'll get a chance to see him in action. He has torched Team USA at the youth division in the past, as has Andrew Bogut, the MVP of the 2003 Under-19 World Championships.
Kirilenko with the board, and Russia down 5.
See that this is good defense. That's outstanding.
Darren Williams just picked his pocket, and it is Chris Paul from Darren Williams, buddy to buddy for 2.
Now what they're doing right now is they're jumping all over J.R. Holden, the primary ball handler. We saw Team USA do this to Jasikevičius of Lithuania, and you see the harassment out top. This is what we mean by ball pressure.
Holden got the step on Williams, going to the left, fading over Wade, and he hits. And J.R. Holden says, right back at you.
Now, the key is the more you pressure out front, if you don't get the steal or the turnover, you're going to allow a guy like Holden to be able to get into the lane off the dribble.
Carmelo, yes, right in AK-47's face.
This is what I mean by simple offense. Unlike Russia, who tries to run a lot of continuity, Coach K, it's really like Duke's offense. Spread the floor, allow guys to make plays.
AK-47 on Carmelo. Fantastic matchup, and what was that? Wade up ahead of the pack. Nice catch by Carmelo. Takes it right at AK. It's rejected by Andrei Kirilenko.
He's done that before many times in the NBA.
And it's an interesting nickname, of course, that Andrei Kirilenko has, and an interesting source for that nickname.
Well, you know the story, but I'll tell it anyway. When he went to the Utah Jazz, he wanted to wear 13. That number was taken. So Quincy Lewis, his teammate, young guy who played at Minnesota, outstanding shooter for the Gophers, Quincy said, hey, what about 47, AK-47, the Russian rifle? Name stuck.
And it has stuck. It's one of the most famous nicknames in basketball these days. Victor Carew at the line, 6'7", 225-pound small forward, 24 years old, and CSKA Moscow's happy to have him.
CSKA Moscow is the Boston Celtics of Russia, coached by a guy I mentioned before, Andrei Messina. Really one of the top clubs, if not right now, actually, the top club in all of Europe.
Andrei Kirilenko into the game for Russia. 21-year-old, 6'8" forward, and you like him.
I've seen this guy. Good player. Can shoot the ball from outside. Good size.
Bosch can't get the and one. Couple of free throws. Nice pass by Carmelo.
Now you notice right away they went to the zone, and this is good now if you're Mike Krzyzewski, because they do a great job so far of moving the ball and not relying just on the jump shot, but trying to get the ball into the middle of the lane.
And didn't we see a couple of zone busters materialize in that game against Lithuania?
Well, it's not only the outside shooting, Rick, but when teams play zone, they play zone for two primary reasons. They either think you can't shoot the ball or that they can't guard you inside. So when you get the ball into the paint, it really defeats the morale of the team playing zone. And Darren Williams the other night, absolutely outstanding at getting into the middle of that zone with the dribble.
Bad pass by Holden. Back the other way, Darren Williams. Solid numbers, just under 9 points, just over 5 assists in these first 3 games. Chris Paul takes it right at Holden, and I can't believe he missed it. Out of bounds, off of Chris Paul, and he can't believe he missed it either.
Well, you know, you look at Chris Paul, and you see the difference between 2 years ago at the World Championships and now. He's a stronger, more mature player, more apt to take on the physical play international basketball provides. Missed the shot, but got deep into the lane.
Broncevic cut off by Wade. Alexei Sabrasenko just touched it. He's into the game. Back to Sabrasenko. That's his shot, and he makes him pay.
Sabrasenko, one of those experienced guys we talked about, along with Morganov, has been around playing for CSKA Moscow.
Wade fouled in the act. And we'll find out if that was 2 or 3. United States on top by 6. 1:10 to go in the first quarter from Shanghai, China. And Fran, what have we learned so far through these first 3 games about USA basketball?
Well, I think first of all, Rick, Mike Krzyzewski's got to be very pleased with the commitment and the chemistry. The chemistry's been unbelievable. I think what we've learned also is when you put a group like this together, you're not going to run a lot of complicated offense. This is very much the way Duke plays. Keep the court spread, run when you can, and allow players to make plays. Take a look here. Simple offense. Outside shooting has not been an issue at all. The defense has started with great ball pressure. Now the key is going to be, are they going to be able to pressure Spain, Argentina, and Greece like they've taken some of these teams out of their offense so far? And I think those are the big things. I'm not convinced they'll be able to do this as easily when you have the experience of a guy like Calderon, Prigioni for Argentina.
Great points by the professor, Fran Fraschilla. Dwyane Wade with 7. The United States leads by 8.
This has actually been a pretty good pace for Russia.
Well, they're not getting blown out yet.
Well, that's the key. Stay in the game as long as possible.
Carmelo. That shot was rejected again by Kirilenko, but a foul on Russia, and Kirilenko very close to a technical foul batting the ball like that.
Well, this is what makes Carmelo so tough. You know he's got the great range. He can shoot the ball from deep. If you come out on him, you know he can go by you off the dribble. But I think people underestimate how strong he is inside, particularly in international play, where Mike Krzyzewski is using both he and LeBron James at the power forward spot.
Coach K, a big fan of Carmelo Anthony. Loves his versatility. Mike D'Antoni to Mike's right. Jim Boeheim to his left.
Well,
Two guys in the Hall of Fame. The question is, D'Antoni going to be in the Hall of Fame one day?
Well, if he keeps winning games at the NBA level, of 50 wins plus, 4 years with the Suns, it's interesting about Mike D'Antoni. Coach Benetton Treviso, as did David Blatt and Ettore Messina, three guys who coached one of the great teams in Europe through the years. In fact, Mike D'Antoni really the first European coach to coach in the NBA, because while he had a cup of coffee with the Kansas City Kings as a player, obviously made his name in the Italian league for many years as a player and a coach. Little full court pressure.
And Russia beats it. Into the middle for Kirilenko, knocked out of bounds beautifully by Dwyane Wade, and Andrei Kirilenko already sporting the frustration.
Yeah, you can tell. You can just tell by his actions out here. He's heading towards a tee.
I mean, that's just a nice play by Wade. Play on, Andrei. Barancevic. Down low to Kirilenko. Nice move on Dwight Howard, and Andrei Kirilenko draws the foul.
Not that any of these Russian players will be intimidated, obviously, but Andrei Kirilenko knows these American superstars, if you will, quite well.
Kirilenko was drafted 24th overall by Utah back in 1999. Did not come over to America right away, however. Spent 2 years at CSKA.
But he was one of those hit or miss guys, in the sense that for a long time, really up until recently, when teams in the league were not pouring a lot of resources into scouting European players, he was one of those guys that really was a savvy pick by the Jazz. We saw a lot of hit and miss guys like Skidishvili, Korolev, the Russian young player who really didn't pan out with the Clippers. So you don't see as many mistakes being made on international players as you did maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
Under 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. Chris Paul out to Darren Williams. 4-3. That right wing three was a beauty from Darren Williams. The United States up 29-17. And that's the end of the first quarter. Another solid defensive first quarter to the United States basketball team. They gave up 15 against Lithuania, 17 here against Russia. The second quarter coming up. Competition speeds up as Travis Pastrana goes for gold against Rally Cars newcomer Dave Mirra. X Games 14, ABC on Sunday at 3 Eastern time. For more information, it's EXPN.com. J.R. Holden, double team, gives it up. That was off of the United States. And both of the starting point guards for the Russian national teams, men and women, are Americans. J.R. Holden for the Russian men, and Becky Hammon, WNBA star for the Russian women.
And there's been some controversy, particularly with Becky Hammon, who is a very, very good player. You see Holden with the missed jump shot.
Got it back, though. This guy hustles. He never gives up. And the reload pays dividends for Russia.
I mentioned earlier, this is a guy that's worked his way up the international scene in the Euro leagues, and really is one of the quality players. And you know what? He would be a terrific backup in the NBA right now, but at his age, in his early 30s, he's making incredible money for CSKA Moscow. And, you know, to come over here and just make the minimum, NBA minimum with taxes and whatnot, doesn't make any sense at all. But it's interesting because Becky Hammon, particularly, Rick, has taken some heat, and it blows my mind because Becky Hammon was WNBA's first team all-league last year, and she didn't even get an invite for the Olympic team of Team USA. Now, you don't give up your American citizenship when you get a Russian passport. They both just want to play basketball in the Olympics. Nothing wrong with that.
Tayshaun Prince with the jumper and a whistle after the shot. It's going to go against the Americans. And WNBA All-Star Becky Hammon in the center of controversy right here, but to her defense, they didn't invite her.
Yep.
And then they added her to the list, to the invitation list, but as she said, it was too late.
No, she makes great money in the winter playing for CSKA Moscow's women's team. So the WNBA gig, really, she probably makes maybe 1/5 of what she makes, in fact, 1/10, I would say, of what she makes in Russia right now.
Hammond told the Houston Chronicle about this situation. I didn't say no to USA Basketball. The option for me to play for USA Basketball really wasn't an option. I don't think people would be upset if I was playing for Switzerland. God loves Russia just as much as God loves America. That is a phenomenal quote from Becky Hammond. USA up 31-21. Russia hanging around, and Kobe Bryant back into the game for the United States. Wade will check out.
Let me get back to J.R. Holden. He played basketball at Bucknell, and it was the only college in Division I to offer him a scholarship.
Wow, he is a true underdog.
Yeah, true underdog, and he's made millions in Europe. And bright guy, business degree.
Well, he's laughing last. There's no question about that. LeBron James, nobody from the Russian side's laughing about that.
Well, let me tell you now, David Blatt, that zone is not supposed to work that way, but that's what we talked about, the ability of Team USA to use the dribble to get to heart of the lane will make those jump shots that much easier to knock down.
LeBron was the leading field goal shooter through the first 3 games, and he, of course, playing only 2 of them. 15 of 18. Yes, video game numbers from LeBron. That's 83%. And today he's 3 of 5 for 6 points. What's wrong with LeBron?
There's nothing wrong with him. And the amazing thing is, you know what? People don't think of him as a shooter. Look, you see the top of the zone. And this is what he does now. He is a playmaker from out there.
Kobe Bryant from deep. That was an NBA range 3. And the rebound taken by Bashut.
We're going to see J.R. Red here shortly if David Blatt stays with that zone.
Bashut on the move. Gets it back. Andrei against Bosch. Nice move by Andrei. We thought he was going to go under the hoop, and he went back the way he came. That was a great move by Kirilenko.
He used the rim to protect that shot. He spun back around and played peekaboo a little bit with Chris Bosch inside.
And a traveling violation called on LeBron James.
You know, one guy that's key for Russia, Victor Harapa, who played with the Chicago Bulls, came back to Russia last season. He is out with an ankle injury. They have until August 7th to put him on the active roster, and he may not have been a great NBA player by any stretch. That's an understatement, but very important to Russia's chances of getting to the medal round.
Bashut puts it in. Russia now down by 8.
Well, the key for Team USA, and I really think the key for teams like Spain and Greece and Argentina, is just make USA play in a half-court game. Now, this is a matchup zone, so they show zone, but they're going to play man-to-man in an area. And this is Pete Carrill, Princeton basketball, from Russia's coach, David Blatt.
Offensive foul on Kobe Bryant, and if you like that number 10 jersey Kobe is wearing, you can log on to NBAstore.com now for that, plus the best selection of USA basketball gear. It's all at NBAstore.com, and that is some cool gear. Michael Redd into the game. You just touched on it a moment ago. It's as if you have a bug in Coach K's ear.
Nope, it's just basketball common sense. They go zone, you put a great shooter out there. You've got Kobe out there with them.
Shooting, knocked out of bounds by the combo of Wade and Bosch. 8 on the shot clock for Russia.
Anytime you play a team that's better than you are, you want to just shorten the game and be in the game going into the second half of the 4th quarter. Right now, the pace is very good for Russia. There you see David Blatt. He's going to ask for a timeout, and that's one of the rules, another FIBA rule, that only the coach can call timeout.
David Blatt, he's a laid-back guy. Not laid back right now. He's laid back with the jeans, though. 6:28 to go in the second. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Shanghai. The United States up by 8, but the scoreboard not indicative of how close the stats are on the box score. The United States shooting 10 of 18. Russia, 10 of 19. Rebounds, 8 apiece. Assists, 3 apiece.
And the interesting thing about the assists, remember, 3 assists on 10 field goals, and Team USA has done a really good job of making sure that baskets have come off unselfish play. So Right now, this is a good situation for David Blatt.
Against Lithuania, the Americans had 34 assists on 48 field goals, and that's the ratio you want. Here's LeBron James. He is fouled by Peter Samoilenko.
Samoilenko will play for David Blatt, who, by the way, will coach Dynamo Moscow this year. Mentioned earlier, he's coached some of the top clubs in Europe, Efes Pilsen and Maccabi Tel Aviv, Benetton Treviso. That's like coaching the Lakers, the Pistons, and the Celtics in the NBA. But you see the 2-3 zone, but it's really a matchup zone.
That's Larry Brown-esque.
Yes, that's right. Oh, the same job security in EuroLeague play as in NBA basketball, trust me.
Well, and as you know, and people who follow the EuroLeague know, it's basically 1- and 2-year deals, and that's it. There are very rarely 3-, 4-, and 5-year deals overseas for coaches and players.
That's very true. And then at times at the lower levels, you have to worry about getting paid as well when things don't go your way.
Actually, that's no laughing matter. J.R. Holden with the miss, and LeBron James up ahead to Kobe. He turns around and jams in Shanghai.
Now, one of the rare breakdowns in terms of getting back in transition, but as we know, long jump shots lead to long rebounds, and that usually leads to open court situations.
First field goal of the game for Kobe Bryant was tasty. United States by 10, and that was a brick. LeBron back for the US of A. Great move, nothing to show for it. Bikov got by Red for a moment. Nice knock away by Kobe. Back comes LeBron James. They don't foul him. LeBron James scoops it up and off, and a foul is called on Russia.
You know, we saw this last year in the Tournament of the Americas. Even with Jason Kidd on the floor, LeBron James is very comfortable being in the middle of the break. Of course, when he plays for the Cavaliers, he basically is your point forward. But there's a guy that I believe led Team USA in assists last year in the Tournament of the Americas, and pretty good numbers this year. 4.7 assists last year as Team USA won the Americas region.
LeBron off, and 5 assists per game through his first 2 in this exhibition run. Also 5.5 rebounds, leading the team in scoring at 17.5. And he missed them both.
And this is a good test for Team USA. We mentioned Russia. See, what David Blatt likes to do is run offense, space the floor, and then usually they're in a pick and roll situation at the end of that shot clock.
5 on the shot clock for number 5, J.R. Holden. Now 2. He spins and shoots over Kobe, and it's off. And the rebound tracked down nicely by Russia. Comes to shooting.
See, I'd run some clock right here, unless you can get to the rim that easily.
Carlos Boozer, the foul. And Russia's doing a good job of just kind of uglying up this game as Vitaly Fritzon draws a couple of free throws.
Fritzon's a guy that was draft eligible last year. Had a bright young future as a younger player, but he's only 23. You see the baby face.
And you see that free throw shooting is contagious, even sometimes team to team. Fritzon, 22-year-old shooting guard, plays his ball with BC Kimki in the Russian Super League, and Russia within 9.
And they're sitting in a little matchup zone. You see how they switch off?
Nice pass.
Very good. And
Stockton to Malone. Well, Williams to Boozer.
And Darren Williams, we talked about this. He has really become, in my mind, Mike Krzyzewski's key in terms of that zone offense, because he's got great court vision and uses the dribble. Nice backdoor cut.
Indeed. Kirilenko to Holden.
Boy, Pete Carrill would have loved that from his former pupil, David Blatt. It's a very smart team.
Darren Williams.
Yes, sir. That's what Darren Williams provides, the size, strength, and quickness from the point guard spot. We've already also seen him knock down a long jumper.
D. Will puts the United States up 11. And Carlos Boozer fouls his Jazz teammate, Andrei Kirilenko. Kobe, LeBron, and the rest of USA basketball have their final pre-Olympic tune-up game Tuesday morning against Australia. USA basketball pre-Olympic action on ESPN2 Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Fran, it's been a blast with you here, and that's our last game here because Breen and Collins are going to take over and call those Olympic games.
Yep. Doug Collins is one of my favorite guys to listen to. Of course, Mike Breen, you know, he's
a hero of mine.
That's right.
Who are you kidding?
Oh, and being a New Yorker, kind of weaned on Mike.
Kirilenko draws Russia within 10. I am stoked, X Games style, for the Olympics coming up, man. That is going to be 2 great weeks of basketball, both with the men and the women.
Well, Team USA will be in Group B with Spain and Greece, in my mind, the 3 best teams in the world. And interesting about the Olympics, they'll start on August 10th versus China, and they will not play 2 days in a row right up till the gold medal game. So five group games will come with a day off in between, and then if Team USA keeps advancing, they'll continue to get that day off right up until the 24th. Actually, 3 weeks from today.
The first team to 8 wins in the Olympics wins gold. Under 10 on the shot clock, and it's pulled away by Dwyane Wade. Can Kobe save it? He does, off the foot of a Russian player, but they said Kobe Bryant stepped on the end line, so Russia will take possession with 2:50 to go in the first half.
One thing you see from Team USA in the half court is great pressure on the perimeter. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do this to teams like Spain and Greece, but we correctly pointed out that Lithuania.
By the way, my bad on that. Williams to Boozer, he missed. Williams tapped it over to Monia.
But you see how deliberate Russia is in the half court. When they take care of the ball, they've done a reasonably good job of getting good shots.
But shooting, not shy. Should have gotten it back to him earlier than that. That was Vrancevic with the rebound.
Shooting 15 years with Seska. There's the quickness again.
What's Wade got for us this time? Well, that's just a conventional rim rocker.
Now, we've seen this feast or famine from Team USA defensively. When they can get into passing lanes and disrupt your offense, obviously that leads to easy opportunities. But I mentioned, I don't think that's going to come as easy when they take on the likes of Calderon and Diamantidis, a terrific Greek point guard. Nice cut.
And the basket converted by Sergei Monia.
Again, when Russia takes care of the ball and don't turn it over easily, they usually get pretty good looks.
Williams the skip to Carmelo. Guarded by Vrancevic. Melo pulls up on him.
See, those are tough shots now. But this is the way Coach K has decided he's going to play. He's going to allow these guys to play their game.
But shooting just keeps on shooting and missing. Under a minute and a half to go in the first half. Dwyane Wade the crossover on Pashut over Vrancevic. No dice. Samoilenko guarded by Kobe Bryant. And it's Kirilenko against Boozer on a 10 on the shot clock for Russia, and a foul on Russia, sending it back to Coach K and the United States. We will return to Shanghai in just a moment, so stick around. Welcome back to Shanghai. Coming up at the half, which is just moments away, an ESPN News update. The worldwide leader takes you around the world of sports. We're also going to be previewing the Aussies. That's the final exhibition game for Team USA before the Beijing Olympics. And we have highlights and analysis of the game you're watching right now. The United States currently leading Russia. Dwyane Wade, the leading scorer in the game, with 11. LeBron James behind him for the U.S. with 6. Andrei Kirilenko leads Russia with 9. Behind him, J.R. Holden with 8. Rick Kamla, Fran Priscilla on the call for ESPN2. United States by 12.
I think the whole Russian coaching staff has those designer jeans on. They look like Sassoons. You remember those? That was before your era.
Sassoons?
Oh, yeah. Designer jeans, man.
I don't know anything about I don't know anything about design or anything, man.
I like the look, but
if it's faddish, I'm out.
David Play, there you go, see? You like the designer jeans?
I don't, actually.
David Blatt is just a cool guy, man. He's an outstanding coach as well. He took over a Russian national team that was really in disarray, and they upset Spain in Madrid, as you know, last September to win the Eurobasket championship.
J.R. Holden, a clutch jumper. Let me rewind. An ultra clutch jumper with 2.1 seconds left to beat Spain in Spain for the upstart Russians. I mean, that was an amazing end to that fantastic tournament. J.R. Holden, the hero.
No, absolutely. It came off a steal of Paul Gasol with about 20 seconds left, and then hits the jumper over Jose Calderon. And David Blatt has been extended. He'll be the national coach through 2012 in London. Of course, we'll see some of these Team USA guys, I'm sure, participating. I don't think that man. I think that man will go back to coaching Duke University and be very interesting. Jerry Colangelo, I talked to him in Las Vegas, and we talked about the fact that I really believe Jerry Colangelo should stay on through one more Olympic cycle. With the select team, he's gotten a good feel for the young players coming up. He's going to have to find a coach, but I like what he's done.
That was Varacevic, and an angry rebound by Carmelo Anthony.
Good chance to slow the pace. Again, a matchup zone. They look like they're playing zone. They'll go through with cutters sometimes.
Kobe Bryant. Oh, and it's followed up by Wade, but he missed. Wade at it again, and he draws the foul. So it's been all good for Dwyane Wade through the first three, and that right there, based on the first three games, would have gone and followed flushed out. Look at this right here. Just didn't have enough, just a little bit too far away from the rim.
You know, the problem with zone defense sometimes is you don't really have a responsibility on who to block out. You saw Dwyane Wade came down that lane unimpeded.
And we have a timeout with 8 seconds left in the first half. The U.S. with just 45 points. They're averaging 118 per through the first three exhibition games. And we welcome you back to the Chichong Arena in Shanghai, China. The fourth of 5 exhibition games for the United States Olympic team before the Beijing Olympics. And the United States with 45 points right now, well below what they have typically been doing in first halves through this exhibition schedule. They've been averaging 57 points at the half. And Fran, are we blaming the U.S. or are we crediting the Russian defense?
But a little bit of both. In fact, it's been really the Russian offense. When they take care of the ball and use much of the 24-second clock, that's been a positive. The zone defense has slowed Team USA down, and I think Team USA has shot the ball pretty quickly, really, and has taken some tough shots. And we mentioned that their offense is simple. They don't run a lot of plays. They sort of play off instinct, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But David Blatt has used this matchup zone many times in the past, and it's not a conventional 2-3 zone. I keep emphasizing. They're showing zone. They're playing man sometimes. They're going with cutters, and they're causing a little indecision right now for Team USA, and that has been positive for Russia.
Boy, they know they got to defend. J.R. Holden, but it's up and through. And how about that? That three-point shot off the right hand of Pashootin gets stuck between the glass and the rim. How often do you see that?
That is not on occasion, and that is a jump ball, obviously.
1 second left in the half.
See if they have a late game play right here, a late clock play.
Holden to inbound. He does so. They get it off, but it's no good. That shot was missed by Zahar Pashootin. Dwyane Wade, 12 points and 7 rebounds here at the half, but he can't believe he just missed that free throw. When we come back, ESPN News will take care of you for a little while. The United States leads at the half by 15.
September.
Sergei Manya has been very quiet. You know, think of him being a former NBA player, obviously a member of this Russian national team. Isn't it time for him to step up a little bit?
He has been a very inconsistent player. In fact, I was really surprised he was a first-round pick, to be honest with you. Arapo, a little more energy-type player, but Manya has not really ever lived up to the reputation he had as a young player. And you see, once again, Russia in that 2-3 zone. And when we talk about the zone, again, it's like silly putty. It's malleable to where you are on the floor. So they'll play man-to-man in a particular area, and they'll even go through with cutters sometimes.
Chris Paul starting the second half for Jason Kidd. Carmelo Anthony, face-up shot, and right in Andrei Kirilenko's face.
Now that was pretty good ball movement that time. They got it side to side. They got Melo in an isolation situation, a place he's comfortable on the floor.
And a turnover in the backcourt for Russia. And that's not going to bring a smile to the face of David Blatt at all.
You know, it's interesting, as much as these teams want to beat Team USA in these exhibition games, a lot of the clever coaches will save some of their best strategy for when it really counts.
LeBron with a power move on Vorontsevich, and the lead is 19 for USA.
Vorontsevich only 21 years old, but guess what? LeBron's only 23.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is. Going into his 6th year now in the league.
And that early start to his career is going to help LeBron on his path to becoming a billionaire, which is a huge goal of his.
You remember back in Las Vegas last week, 2 of his guests, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. They went out to dinner the night before the game. LeBron's people assured me he did not pick up the check.
You want to talk about a big 3.
That's a heavyweight.
That's a huge 3. And that was quite a scene in Las Vegas. Last game on American soil for this U.S. national team. Chris Paul got boinked in the head.
Chris Paul there have been a couple of occasions in these 4 exhibition games where he has fallen asleep a little bit on the defensive end. Certainly makes up for it for what he does in terms of his passing and scoring.
Bikov at the line hits the first. Chris Paul actually is leading this team in minutes at 24.3. And you look at some of the other guys, LeBron at 23, Kobe 20.5, Howard 20.7. He's really by far the leader in minutes on this team.
I think a large reason for that is Mike Krzyzewski has used Jason Kidd sparingly. And primarily, I think, to get Paul and Darren Williams some more experience.
And to rest Jason Kidd perhaps a little bit too?
I think so. 35 years old, the oldest member of this team and the only member of Team USA with a gold medal.
Kobe Bryant, the second oldest member of this team, and Kobe tried to juke the ref right there. It was obviously off of Kobe. He went out of bounds to take it, and the ref said, "I'm not having that, Kobe." Here's Andrei. Strong move to the hoop, and he missed it.
Yeah, that's poor defense by Carmelo Anthony right there. He is not a good on-ball defender.
Paul, quick pass to Kobe Bryant, and he does not miss open 3-pointers.
That's great ball movement. We talked about Chris Paul. And, interestingly, Jason Kidd does not start this second half.
And LeBron James says, I didn't touch him, but it looked like LeBron whacked Kirilenko right in the face. But the official might have missed that one.
Well, he's making his point, but you know, oftentimes some of the FIBA officials don't really, some of them don't speak great English, so they kind of tune you out. Anyway, another backdoor cut.
And a beautiful pass by Kirilenko.
Second time in just the last couple minutes that Chris Paul has been back cut. Again, when you don't turn Russia over at half court, they've done a nice job of running their offense.
Boy, that was right in Kobe's wheelhouse, and he missed that short fadeaway. J.R. Holden, pull up on Kobe, and he hits it, and that's a long 2.
The pride of the Bison of Bucknell in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Coached by Pat Flannery.
Chris Paul with a head fake into the lane, drops it off for Carmelo. Gets around Sabrasenko deftly. It's out of bounds off of Russia. And a look at Jason Kidd. Now, the fact that he does not start the second half here, and of course the only member of this team to have a gold medal, Are we going to see him in the second half? You would figure he's the starter. He would start. He's not starting here. Do you think we'll see him in the second half?
Well, here, you know, I don't know, but here's the big point. Now, I would start to play Tayshaun Prince and Carlos Boozer more. This team is the key now is not to get anybody hurt. You want to win these games. They're going to beat Russia here, barring a major collapse. And you want to stay sharp, and I would get some of my best down-the-line guys some more experience.
Kobe hanging and hitting. And the United States by 17. Kobe now has 10. A moment ago, J.R. Holden became the first Russian in double figures with 10. Savrasenko, the baseline J. And it's rebounded by Pashut. Off to Savrasenko, and a nice cut to the hoop for Alexei.
That was one of those examples of Team USA thinking they had the rebound. So 4 white shirts started to get out in transition. And the turnover gave Russia an easy opportunity.
The United States leads with 6:47 to go in the third.
You almost sense in this game that these guys are ready to get to Beijing. Probably more so than any game so far. They've pretty much gone through the motions.
Kirilenko 1-on-2. Nice pass, and it's dumped down by Morozevich, and Russia within 12.
Well, nice job by the young guy running the floor.
And a turnover by the Americans.
You know what, Rick? This is the first time in 4 games that you get a sense that Team USA has lost its mojo a little bit.
So you didn't feel that when Lithuania got it within 9 in the third quarter of the previous game?
Because it was more Lithuania making some shots. Right now you have a couple of turnovers, a couple of offensive fouls that is just really a basic lack of focus. The turnover in the backcourt that led to the easy basket last possession. And you just get the sense that there's not the same energy level here tonight that we've seen in the first 3 games. And by the way, we mentioned this at the top, Russia is very well coached. They're doing a nice job of keeping Team USA out of transition.
And they have been crisp on the offensive end in this third quarter. Andrei Kirilenko had it knocked out of bounds. There is David Blatt, the head coach of the Russian national team.
Former Princeton Tiger. In fact, he was all Ivy League back in 1980, second team for Pete Carrill. Nice play at the rim.
Oh, Savrasenko lost it, then got it back, and Russia is within 10.
Tell you what, they set up Savrasenko off the side OB right underneath the rim. And he's 7'1", 265.
Kobe Bryant hit that one. He wanted a foul. And the United States back by 12. Kobe Bryant being featured here in the third quarter.
Well, he has been. But I want to mention something to you that we talked about at halftime. If I were Mike Krzyzewski, I don't remember that he's taken a timeout yet in this exhibition tour. I would take a couple timeouts because if you need to take a timeout against some of the elite teams in the medal round, it's going to be a foreign territory for this team. Now, I know Chuck Daly went through the '92 Olympics without calling a timeout, but that was a different time and place. I would get used to my team having me call a timeout at least a few times so that when it happens, it's not going to be unusual.
Pretty scoop to the hoop by Andrei Kirilenko. And Russia has it back to 10 and another turnover by the United States.
This is where I would call timeout right now. And as you know, Rick, in FIBA play, only the coach can call timeout. And it can only come during a dead ball situation. And it's one thing to let them play through these mistakes right now. But I would set a tone just in case I needed to call one when it really counts.
Holden doing a lot of dribbling. Does he have enough strength to score? He has enough strength to draw a foul on Carmelo Anthony. And David Blatt has to be enjoying what he is seeing here in the third quarter. His team did not play well offensively in quarter number 2. Here in the third quarter, they've been fantastic. 56-46, the United States over Russia. USA #1 in the FIBA rankings. Russia 16th. Come on back. Welcome back to Shanghai, China, the arena, Chichong, and the United States leads by 10, 56-46. Rick Kamla and Fran Fraschilla on the call for ESPN2. Mike Krzyzewski, the head coach, of course, long time at Duke. Carlos Boozer, a Dookie as well. They won a ring together in 2001. And Team USA 31-1 in exhibition games since 1992 when NBA players were involved. The only loss came August 3rd of 2004 against Italy. And obviously, they're not exactly sweating bullets right now, up only 10. But Russia is hanging around, and Russia is making this a contest.
Well, they have. They're playing without Victor Harapa, a key factor in their lineup. He's not playing. J.R. Holden, you're seeing why he's one of the best point guards in Europe and a guy that obviously could play in the NBA, except he'd have to take a massive pay cut. But you see the zone defense continues to befuddle Team USA somewhat. They've got to get that ball going side to side.
Oh, that is a tough basket by Kobe Bryant. Andrei Kirilenko was all over it.
And it's a tough shot. It's not a shot that you better rely on when you get to live bullets, because that was a contested shot versus the zone.
And what a play by Kirilenko, going down to his knees to save that possession for Russia. Now Andrei drives and Andrei scores. And Russia back within 8, and this is the deepest in a game, and the closest an opponent has been to the United States in this exhibition run.
Andrei Kirilenko's got Carmelo Anthony on him, and he knows Carmelo does not move his feet well. Able to use that dribble to go right by him.
Paul to Bosch, and Chris Bosch is upset that he dropped that one off for the pass instead of going up for the shot.
See, I like this because even though Russia is in a zone, it's a matchup zone. We've mentioned this, so it's man-to-man, really. And so what does Team USA do? They run a little high pick and roll. That causes some indecision. It allows Chris Bosch to roll into the middle of the lane, which is exactly where the ball needs to go versus this defense.
He was not in the act of shooting, so an inbounds for the United States. Dwyane Wade to LeBron. Back to Wade, guarded by Holden. Good defense by J.R. Holden. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Kobe Bryant doesn't worry about that. He just blows by and scores with the left hand. The United States by 10.
Good example right there. Even though they show zone, it's really man-to-man. So Kobe, you see right here, it's basically an isolation. Defender comes over to rotate, but by that time it's too late.
Russia scores again, and back comes Paul, off to LeBron, and it's picked off by J.R. Holden. Well, Russia within 8 and looking very, very good here. Knocked out of bounds by Chris Paul.
Hey, right now, if you're Russia, you want to get a great look. You can get this ball and this lead into single digits.
And coverage of X Games 14 continues ABC Sunday. Catch the debut of a new event, Skate Super Park, where Shaun White and Ryan Sheckler compete against each other to bring home the first ever Super Park gold medal. X Games 14, ABC Sunday at 3 Eastern. J.R. Holden over Bosch. And the rebound comes to Darren Williams. Up ahead to Kobe Bryant, spins. Oh, he missed the finger roll. And the rebound comes to Pashutin. I can't believe my eyes. And then J.R. Holden gives it away.
Well, this is a good situation right now. You see Kobe, little soccer, young guy, spent formative years in Italy with his dad, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant.
Darren Williams saw the lane open. Here's Dwyane Wade.
It's a little too much one-on-one right now.
Kobe Bryant missed that shot. LeBron back to Kobe. Here's Dwyane Wade. No call, and it counts. The official says score the goal. I'm not calling a foul. I'm swallowing my whistle. And they're really seesawing here back between 8 and 10 here in the third quarter.
Well, Russia in that defense has got Team USA sped up a little bit, at least in the half court. And you don't see the ball movement that you saw against Lithuania.
And Holden throws it away again. He was looking for Kairu. And by the way, a moment ago, I really liked that no call on that Wade Kairu play. I thought that was a flop on Kairu.
Well, that's something FIBA basketball is cleaning up. In fact, I believe it's going to be a technical foul next year. The referee can determine that it's a flop. Now, Darren Williams is in the game. Let's take a look at this, because he has been Team USA's best player in terms of attacking the zone.
Michael Redd, ultra quiet.
Man-to-man right now by Russia.
Wow, just a foggy situation for the U.S. right now. Chris Bosch That was a nice pass, just wasn't looking for it. Was the pass too hot, or was that okay?
I think it's because of the way Russia has played this defense in this third quarter. They've kind of got Team USA out of sync a little bit. A little too much one-on-one. And when there is a pass made, there's not the crispness.
That's a nice steal by Dwyane Wade, and then he is fouled ruthlessly in the open court by Sergei Bykov. Kobe Bryant, 16 points in this game, the most during this exhibition tour. He had 15 versus Canada and an electric third quarter despite the missed finger roll.
Well, Kobe is a guy that we all know what he can do on the offensive end when he's the key component for the Lakers.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Michael Redd, he's good as well. Michael Redd has been doing it from downtown in this pre-Olympic tour. Michael Redd, 10 of 18 from 3 coming into this one, and he looked pretty good on that one right there, giving the United States a 13-point lead with 1:15 to go in the third. Coach K and his staff, however, still have a lot to work on. Come on back. And as we bring you back to action here from the Chichong Arena in Shanghai, the United States leads by double figures. I'm incredulous of that graphic right there. I think the lead is 13, actually, for the United States. And as you take a look at the coaching staff, the brain trust, if you will, for the United States, take a look at the man behind Nate McMillan. That is Tony Ronzoni, works with the Detroit Pistons. He's the international scouting guru for Team USA, and he's the man in charge of scouting these international teams, the Russias, the Canadas, and obviously plays a big role and a great role for USA basketball.
Well, he really does, and he was really one of the first NBA scouts to go overseas and find the international players well regarded. And Tony and I spend every June at the Reebok Euro Camp in Treviso, Italy, and got to know him well. Very bright mind and knows international basketball as well as anybody.
And a good guy as well. Fun guy to talk to. Holden has really had a mysterious third quarter. Dwyane Wade swooping through and scoring.
Oh, that's something you haven't seen much of this quarter. Team USA turning a turnover into easy offense. That's been a staple of this team thus far in the exhibition series.
Wade with 16. Kobe with 16. And now Bosch is on Holden.
You shouldn't be that open.
Orgunov missed it, and Darren Williams comes out of there with it. And now numbers for the U.S. Michael Redd. 2 for 2 from 3 from Michael Redd. His first 2 field goals have come here late in the third.
And credit Darren Williams. He had his head up the whole way. He knew where Michael Redd was. Tell you something else about Williams. That last possession, Morgunov, who's 260, tried to post up Williams on the mismatch, and Williams with that frame, talked about his strength, did a nice job on the big fella.
Holden got that off right before the buzzer at the end of the third quarter. The United States led by 15 at the half, and they take an 18-point lead to the fourth quarter because of that dude right there. Kobe Bryant, the reigning MVP in the NBA, had a sensational third. The fourth is coming up. We're back for the start of the fourth quarter from Shanghai. They have taken a point away from the Russians. Say it ain't so, but it is. A 19-point lead for the Americans. They end the fourth on a 10-0 run. Kobe, LeBron, and the rest of the USA basketball squad have their final pre-Olympic tune-up Tuesday morning against Australia. Note the game time, 8 a.m. Eastern time. It is the pre-Olympic tour on ESPN2. Rick Kamla, Fran Fraschilla, and our entire ESPN crew. Happy to bring this one to you. And Fran, it's been a great run for us. Good run here for the United States basketball team, where they feel like they should be up 19 going into the fourth. And
they haven't played particularly well. And, you know, we mentioned sometimes that some of these international coaches play possum, don't show all their best stuff. Well, today I think you're seeing a Team USA that, quite frankly, is probably looking forward to getting to Beijing as quickly as possible and without any injuries. Russia has made them play some in the half court, which in many ways is good for Team USA.
And as you see, they just changed the score on us again. And that has been an issue throughout this basketball game. Andrei Kirilenko takes it strong, can't score. And it comes out to the United States. LeBron James down in a heap. Michael Redd can't hit that three. our stat man, Zach Ivkovich. They're driving him nuts, but he's doing his best to help out Fran and I, bring you all the goodies. One more coming up for the United States. They've got Australia, and then it's off to Beijing. And, you know, what do you surmise here through 3 games in 3 quarters? Do you think there's all kinds of stuff they need to work on, or do you like where Team USA is at?
Well, they've got 10 days, really, or less now, until they open up, actually a week before they get ready for China. They're ready to win games in the group play, and that includes beating Greece and Spain. The thing you got to concern yourself with is what happens when they get to the close game in the 4th quarter, which, Rick, is going to happen once or twice in Olympic play. It just will. You know, you're looking at Spain, who's got a very experienced team with excellent guards and a low post score. In my mind, Greece is the best team in the world. Now, hear me out. I've said this before. They're not necessarily the favorite to win the gold medal. They just play the best as a team, in my opinion. So, and then you got Argentina with all sorts of experience, although there's no Pepe Sanchez. He's retired, and no Walter Herman. But you still have Ginobili and Delfino and Nocioni in that group.
Russian coach David Blatt wants time. A 22-point lead for the United States. 8:37 to go in the basketball game. Stick around. Welcome back to Shanghai, China. The Chichong Arena, site of this friendly between the United States and Russia. The USA leads by 22. And look at the groups in the upcoming Olympic basketball tournament. Group A, obviously the top team, Argentina. Group B, 3 mega teams, Greece, Spain, and the United States.
There's no question in my mind that they're the 3 of the 4 best teams, and they will see all will see each other in group play. And of course, the top 4 teams in each group will survive to the medal round.
Oh, Holden banks it in. I said it was a mysterious second half for him. Well, and that one went well for him.
He's got 17, and opportunity to play against guys he watched growing up. And of course, Carmelo, when you give him an open look, he has been through his FIBA run almost automatic from that international line.
Foul on Carmelo. I want to get back to Blatt for a moment. There's been some talk, you know, about Ettore Messina, the head coach of CSKA, coming over to the NBA. David Blatt is another one of those European coaches looking to follow in the footsteps of a Mike D'Antoni, who came from Benetton Treviso over to the NBA. If Blatt and or Messina were to do that, do you think a European coach could be successful in the NBA?
Well, qualified, yes. Both of those gentlemen, obviously, the first thing is the language barrier. Ettore Messina speaks very good English. Obviously, David Blatt is an American from Boston and the national coach. The second thing is the credibility issue. NBA players, by rule, are skeptical until you prove to them that you know what you're doing. There are many coaches in Europe that are at the level of the NBA level as far as coaching. The difference is, Rick, it's like the language Spanish and the language Portuguese. They sound the same, but they're completely different. So there would be some adjustments. Now, David Blatt is not coming over to the NBA to be an assistant coach. Neither is Ettore Messina, because they make way too much money in Europe. So it's almost like J.R. Holden. He's not going to take a spot on a roster for the minimum when he's making 7 figures. So the answer is these guys are great coaches in Europe. You think of the, you know, the Tanjeviches and the Aietos of Spain, Dirk Bauerman of Germany. These guys are all proven winners. It's just a different style of play and a different culture, if you will. But given the opportunity and gaining the credibility from an NBA player, absolutely these guys could coach in the NBA. NBA guys want to know that you're going to make them better, because if you make them better, you're going to make them more money, and they'll be happy.
And I love that you brought Dirk Bauerman into the conversation. I can recall the audio of one of his huddles speaking to the German national team in English.
That's right.
What's up with that?
Well, English is the universal basketball language in Europe, because oftentimes you're going to have, in Dirk's case, you have a number of guys, Chris Kaman, for example. Let's face it, he's naturalized. I doubt he knows very much German. But that is the language of basketball, if you will. Because when you're in Europe, if you're coaching a Euro League club, you're going to have a few Americans. And most everybody speaks English in Europe. In fact, when I talk to my European coaching buddies, I tell them if you know 3 languages, you're trilingual. 2 languages, you're bilingual. If you know 1 language, you're American.
And I certainly qualify under the latter designation. I'll have you know, I took Swedish in college at the University of Minnesota.
And I told you I took Russian in high school and in college.
But could you, to this day, string together a sentence in Russian? Because I certainly cannot string together a sentence in Swedish, either written or verbal.
No, but when we work with the Russian kids at the Reebok Euro Camp, I always say to them, "Очень хорошо," which means very good. See, so they like me. They smile when I do that.
Fran, you're a likable guy. It's great to be on the air with you, man. And speaking of coaches, which you are, in reading, doing the prep work here, I found out that coaches do not get medals in the Olympics. And Coach K said, I'm not upset about that at all. It's all about the players. Of course he's going to defer to the players. But he did say that he hoped that Jerry Colangelo, if they won gold, would go out of his way to create a replica for he and JC.
I think that that's putting the cart before the horse right now. But certainly I think Coach K, most importantly, is very, very proud of being the coach of this U.S. Olympic team. And he's done so many things in his great career. A West Point graduate, 3 national titles. He's coached 20 NBA players, been coach of the year nationally 12 times. I think this would be a crowning achievement. And as I've mentioned before, he's not going to out X and O anybody in this tournament, but he is a great manager of ego, if you will. We see Russia still in that zone, so this gives Team USA a different look.
LeBron missed the layup. It was contested, knocked away by Wade, and put back in by Carmelo.
I think, like we've said in a number of the exhibition games, there's a lot to like about this performance tonight, but there'll be... And now, first time Team USA goes to the zone. And what I like about this, as Russia attacks it like it's a sieve, is you don't want to always throw your fastball. You got to have a curveball, and you got to give your opponents coming up some different things to look at.
You know what? Kairu wanted the block right there, and LeBron's going to get free throws out of it.
Well, Kairu is a very athletic young player. Has to work on his perimeter game, but the NBA teams a couple years ago were very impressed. The other thing about Coach K, if you read every press conference transcript, I had a chance to spend time with the team in Vegas last week. Very humble.
Yes.
About, and they said all the right things, and I think he means it. The world plays very good basketball right now. And we've been proving that time and time again, and I think he has made sure his team has a healthy respect for every opponent.
The 23-year-old phenom, LeBron James. And a look at the numbers on Coach K, and we've highlighted 3 national championships. He won in 2001 with Carlos Boozer.
He sure did. He won it with Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner. Of course, Trajan Langdon, who played for him. We talked about J.R. Holden. That is J.R. Holden's backcourt mate at CSKA Moscow. Trajan, a first-round pick of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Didn't pan out for him, but he has had a great career playing in the Euro League and winning numerous championships.
And for the fans of CSKA Moscow, this Russian national team is basically mini CSKA. There are 6 CSKA players on the Russian national team. Kobe tried to go to Wade, but it was broken up.
Well, too much French pastry right there. We've seen that a few times. Hard to criticize a lot, but just make the play. Sometimes the emphasis on the alley-oop.
Holden off the Savrsenko screen, way short. Kirilenko the offensive rebound, and a foul on LeBron James.
Well, you don't want to be down 21 points if you're David Blatt, but to this point in the exhibition tour for Team USA, they've done as good a job of controlling the tempo as any team. Now, you got to remember, Spain blew out this Russia team just a few weeks ago by 30-some-odd points, so I know we keep mentioning Spain as LeBron sits down.
LeBron has fouled out of this friendly. 10 points for LeBron. And of the 3 games that he has played, this has been his least effective. And to his left is Jason Kidd. And I go back to that. Has not played at all here in the second half. And it's a coach's decision. It does not look like he's hurt at all. But what do you think of that coach's decision?
I think it's totally fine. We have seen, and we mentioned how coaches in tournament play possum. First of all, he's the oldest player. There's no question in my mind that Darren Williams is going to be a key factor in this Olympic run. But you don't want to show all your cards all the time. And on the other hand, that's what I like about playing zone. I would sometimes, when I was coaching, out of a timeout, as you see Carmelo gets poked right here. But I would have my team come out of a timeout and just play 1-3-1 defense, something we didn't practice all season long, just to give the opponents coming up a different look.
Wade caught up in the air, but bailed out by Carmelo Anthony, cutting to the goal.
Great look by Dwyane Wade. Great unselfishness once again.
The Mellow Man has 18.
And now you see again a little bit of 2-3 zone, the change-up defense.
J.R. Holden over Carmelo. And it's pulled by Kirilenko. Savrasenko says, nah, I'm not feeling it. We'll do this over again.
Now, Jim Boeheim put this 2-3 zone in at practice in Las Vegas. And in fact, Don Casey, who for many years was the father of zone defense, is also there.
Sergei Manya. He split a season back in 05-06 between Portland and Sacramento. He and Harappa were drafted 22 and 23 back in the 2004 NBA draft. Kobe Bryant from NBA range, and he banks it in, and you know what? I think he tried to do that.
We saw him make one of those in Las Vegas with the clock running down.
But I mean, it's an uncontested shot. I think he literally extended the Duncan, 45-degree angle bank shot to three-point range because Kobe is good like that.
When we work on that shot, we usually work on it from 17 feet and in, because that's a long way to bank that shot in.
Brand coverage of X Games 14 continues Sunday on ABC. Catch the debut of a new event, Skate Super Park. Shaun White, Ryan Sheckler, they're going to be competing against each other for gold. And the competition speeds up as Travis Pastrana goes for gold against Rally Cars newcomer Dave Mira. X Games 14 on ABC Sunday at 3 Eastern Time. For more information, log on to EXPN.com. Kirilenko at the stripe for Russia. 3:45 to go in this basketball game. The pre-Olympic tour continues for the United States Tuesday morning against Australia.
Well, it's funny when you mentioned J.R. Holden and why he is the point guard for the Russian national team. And Kirilenko had a great point. He said J.R. Holden has spent the last 7 years in Russia, and I spent the last 7 years in Utah. He's as much Russian as I am now. Now, he's got the Russian passport, but he did not have to give up his citizenship, obviously. And when he travels in Russia, he travels as a U.S. citizen.
Kobe Bryant with the ball fake. Guy trying to throw it up to Dwight. And those sexy all-star game type of plays just haven't been going down for the United States. And Manya tried to send a charge into this crowd in Shanghai with that rim rocker. Paul no looks it to Howard. He can't hit the layup. See what I mean?
Well, and even too much right now. See, if I'm Chris Paul right now, you got 3 red shirts running the lane with Dwight Howard. And just run some clock and run some offense. It doesn't all have to be about the highlights.
Long three-pointer is good from Vitaly Fritzson, and the assist to Andrei Kirilenko. Russia within 17. It's a respectable difference in the score for the Russians.
85 points. They've held Team USA 40 points plus under their average. And not unexpected from a David Blatt club, who obviously we mentioned played for Pete Carrill. They've done a good job of running their offense. They've done a good job of playing the zone, which generally slows you down. And when they haven't turned the ball over, Rick, it's kept Team USA out of transition. So the game plan has been outstanding. And the score may not indicate it, but I think David Blatt is going to be happy with a lot of things that have happened for Russia tonight.
Kobe having a seat, so shall we for a couple of minutes. We'll see you in a bit. Time for the Sprite play of the game, and I can't believe it's not Dwyane Wade.
No, but it's a good second choice. And we usually have one of those rim rockers.
Wade has been the Sprite play of the game, the first three, and here it was the 360 by Kobe. Definitely a worthy and deserving play. But Dwyane, where are you?
I'll tell you what, speaking of where are you, Dwight Howard's been pretty quiet.
He has.
And he hadn't played a lot. And again, you know, if you're Mike Krzyzewski right now, you pretty much know what you have. That's why I mentioned no injuries in these last two exhibition games, because you get the feeling tonight that Team USA wants to get on to Beijing. But still some things to clean up. And I think every coach in this tournament would say the same thing. Argentina has not played well in the friendly games. And although, you know, you hate to keep bringing this up, Spain has been devastating. Greece blew through the qualifying round in Athens at home.
It's been a foul-plagued game for Dwight Howard, and he got the block right there on Manya and knocked off the rim by Dwight Howard. Presence defensively here, late fourth.
That's the experience of Dwight Howard playing 3 years of FIBA rules. That ability to go up and knock it off the rim was never a natural thing for teams from the U.S. that were put together in a couple weeks.
Chris Paul, the teardrop goes, and Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, they're the only three members of this Olympic team who have been with the United States for the 06 Worlds, the 2007 Tournament of the Americas, and of course this Olympic run. Andrei Kirilenko couldn't get the reverse to go. Rebound to Dwight. Under 2 minutes to go. Here's D. Will. Stutter step move. Pull back Jay. Nothing doing. Dwight Howard, he's fouled. I can hear the slap from here. United States up by 21. Coach K does not have that happy of a look on his face, however. He's not a guy that is beaming with smiles like Dwight Howard, but probably not super psyched about what he's seen here today.
Absolutely true. As a coach, you kind of, you know, you can win by 30 and 40 and still find things wrong with your team. That's just the nature of coaching, because there's not a coach yet that's coached the perfect game, but there will be some things in the locker room. I think intensity level, most of all, will be something that he will make sure he gets across to that team. But you know, the flip side of that is credit Russia because of what we talked about. They really made this as much of a half-court game as they possibly could, and the score doesn't indicate it because Team USA has 90, but they come in averaging almost 120.
66% shooting for 118 points for the first 3 games for the United States. Might not even make 100 in this game against Russia, and they are known as a very good defensive team.
If I'm Dwight Howard's shooting coach right now, when he gets back to Orlando, I get that guide hand off the front of the ball, because that doesn't give you a natural rotation. I don't mean to coach anybody here, but it's evident on that last free throw.
Could he go Anthony Mason or even Pau Gasol or even Oscar Robertson with just the one-hander?
Oh, you can definitely, absolutely improve your shooting if your technique is correct. And of course, he does so many other things so well.
Dwight Howard is defended well. He wanted a foul right there, and perhaps there was on that play, but not called. Bergunov was right in front of him. United States by 22.
J.R. Holden's got something to tell his grandkids after tonight's performance.
17 for him. Nice rebound by Fritzon. Out of bounds off of Darren Williams. 34 seconds to go in the basketball game.
Now, this is a performance that should tell you, if you're watching at home, that you need to tune in very carefully to the Olympics, because I can tell you from experience, having watched Greece and Spain the last couple of years, that they have an opportunity to give Team USA all they can handle. course, Argentina with the veteran group. So many outstanding international players as well. And this team as well. Russia may get Kirilenko back.
Final seconds, the United States moved to 4-0 in exhibition play. It was ugly, but nevertheless a victory for the United States over Russia. Kobe Bryant, leading scorer in the game with 19 points, and he was superb. And he says, nice game to J.R. Holden, the man he went against most of this game. So, 4 for 4 with one more to go till Beijing. The United States wins 90-68. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Rick Kamla. One more coming up from Shanghai, and then it's off to Beijing for USA basketball. We'll see you Tuesday morning for the final friendly against Australia.